Hello everyone, back tuning into the fourth summer 2020 Analogues update from Gaz. So we've done 3 Analogues updates so far, the summer of 2020, as well as 1 seasonal model roundup. We didn't do an Analogues update last week. We put them on a back burner in favour of the long range models, but the analogues are back this week, and we're going to be looking at CET, central temperature data, this week. We're going to be looking at the March CET, so more about that very shortly. Just to say that our competition has begun at Gaz, so we've teamed up with metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation, and we're giving away a fantastic rain gauge. It's worth nearly £60. So to enter that, have a look at the video that was released just before this summer 2020 season one roundup. It tells you how to enter the competition. It's a prize draw, so you don't have to do anything difficult. But enter the prize draw, and you could be in a chance with winning that, or you will be in with a chance of winning that fantastic prize. I'm going to have Gaz's sunny roundup coming up later on today, and also can be a live stream on the YouTube channel between 5 and 6 o'clock. Have a bit of a chat, get together, and to see how everybody's doing during this terrible time of the coronavirus. So we're going to get together on the YouTube channel between 5 and 6 o'clock for a live stream. Now, this video is going to be quite a long video as always, with the long range stuff, so if you can't watch it all in one go, then don't worry, it will be kept at gazswabbies.com indefinitely, and also the YouTube channel, of course. So you'll be able to watch the video on demand whenever you want, and there will be a written summary that goes with video at Gazwabbies as well, so you'll be able to have a read about it. I'll try and get that up for you sometime this evening. Big thank you to our good friend Richard Trott for the gift here, and also a little bit of information towards the end of the video from Richard as well, so more about that at the back end of the video. And also as well, big thank you to our Analogues guru James. James is still recovering from his operation, but will be back with us very, very soon. And the recovery is going very well, I believe. Right, I think that's everything I've got to tell you. So, shall we get on with the fourth summer 2020 Analogues update? Let's do it, shall we? So, we're going to look at the CET. We're looking at the March Central England temperature. So here we are at the UK Met Office CET page. March 2020 CET came out at 6.7. That was an anomaly of around 1 degree above the 61 to 1990 average. Compared to the more modern average, 81 to 2010, that was actually about average. So for our Analogues update, we're going to be looking at summers following Marches with a CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. I've got to say a big thank you to our good friend Terry Scully as well, who has helped out with this update. So big thank you to Terry also for helping out with this Analogues update. So that is our CET range, 6.5 to 6.9, placing, of course, March 2020 at 6.7, slap bang in the middle of that range. So the first summer following a March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9 was 1854. And the summer of 1854 looks like this. It's quite an unsettled summer with above average heights sitting to our north and below average heights are to our south. By the way, remember, we can only go as far back as 1836 with the reanalysis at the moment. So there may have been other marches within this range of 6.5 to 6.9 before 1836, but for the analogues, that's as far back as we can go. Right, so the summer of 1854 looks like it's quite an easterly summer, probably bringing in a lot of easy winds, and with that low pressure to the south, could be quite a thundery summer as well, maybe quite a warm, unstable, thundery type summer in 1854. Our next summer following a March CET range of 6.5, 6.9 is the summer of 1863. This one, again, with below average heights through the north and west of Europe, above average heights throughout to the northwest towards Greenland and Iceland. Jet stream is pushed southwards. This looks like a cooler and more unsettled summer. It has quite a strong sort of northern blocking signal up here towards Iceland and Greenland would be below average heights, again extending through much of the northwest of Europe. So quite a cool and unsettled summer there, following that March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. The next summer is 1868. Now this is a classic hot summer. This one has above average heights sitting both to the north and also over and to the east of the country. Just a very anticyclonic summer. Low pressure pushed up towards Greenland and Iceland, jet stream doing something like that. Before 2018, hot summer of 2018, there hadn't been a hot summer in a year ending in the number 8 since 1868. So 1868 was indeed a hot and dry summer, classic summer back in the middle of the Victorian era, and it does make up part of this Analogues package. The next summer is 1872. This one is more unsettled. The above average heights are much further north this time, up towards Scandinavia and in towards the Arctic. We've got below average heights coming in off the Atlantic. The jet stream is coming in off the Atlantic as well. Looks an unsettled summer, probably quite easy, so it could be quite a warmish summer. But again, I think this is an unsettled summer in 1872. Next up, we've got 1874. This one has a weak area of above average heights down to our southwest. Below average heights are pushed to the north. I don't know much about this summer. Doesn't look particularly exciting either way. Maybe just one of those very, very sort of average type summers that can occur at times. The next summer is 1884, following a March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. This one, lots of low pressure to the south, with high pressure up towards the northeast. So again, probably quite an easterly summer, and all of this low pressure to the south, I suspect, particularly for England and Wales, it could have been quite a wet summer as well in 1884. Next, we've got 1894. So an interesting run there. 1874, 1884, 1894. Interesting 10-year run of marches with a CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. This one, again, looks unsettled. Below average heights in off the Atlantic. Above average heights are further north. And in comes the jet stream. So a cool and unsettled summer in 1894. 1896 has northern blocking, so it has a ridge of above average heights through the North Atlantic. That does in fact extend back to Greenland and also over here with below average heights. Let's change the colour. Below average heights over and to the south of the country. And that looks like it's probably an unsettled and quite cool, maybe even very cool summer in 1896. 1897, and again, we've got an unsettled summer, below average heights coming in off the Atlantic, blocking up to the north, northern blocking up to the north, in comes the jet stream. So that one also looks like a pretty unsettled summer, quite a cool summer in 1897. 1902 keeps it going. These are not a very good, these aren't a very good package of analogues so far for anyone who wants warm and dry summer. This one again looks very unsettled. Lots and lots of blocking up to the north. Low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. So yes, another unsettled summer with northern blocking combined, meaning quite a cool and wet summer. Summer of 1905 is the next one, and again, this one also looks unsettled. Below average heights over to west of the country, in comes the jet stream. So, yes, another cool and unsettled summer doing there. Quite a long gap then from 1905 to 1923. 1923 is the next time we have a March of a CET range of 6.5, 6.9. The summer of 1923 is better. It has above average heights centred very close to the country. Below average heights are up to the north. Jet stream is going northwards as well. I don't think that's a bad summer at all in 1923. 1935 has below average heights out to the northwest. Otherwise, there's not a huge amount else going on. It's a rather unsettled this summer, but I think it does have some warm and dry weather at times through the summer of 1935. There's a long run of decent summers in the early 1930s. 1935 is not as good as 1934 or 1933. Or probably 1932 either, but it is not a bad summer in its own Right, it's not too bad a summer. Then we've got 1943 showing up next, following the March CET range of 6.5, 6.9. This one, again, quite an unsettled summer. Above average heights coming off the Atlantic. Below average heights, I should say, coming off the Atlantic. Above average heights down towards Spain and Portugal. There's the westerlies. It looks like a westerly type summer in 1943. 1952, next, again, following March CET range, 6.5, 6.9. This one, below average heights up to the northeast, above average heights out to the west. This summer is quite a cool summer, and also quite unsettled as well. It brings in those northerly winds, and I think it does have quite a lot of unsettled weather going on through this summer. And it also contains the Lossiemouth disaster as well in 1952. Another pretty long gap to the summer of 1972. So this one, again, quite unsettled, below average heights extending across the UK. Above average heights out to the west and also to the northeast as well. So that's another pretty cool and unsettled summer doing there. Now I've got the wrong order, so we need to push that one backwards. So you go through 1966. So we've got the order a little bit out of sync there. This is the summer of 1966 with above average heights out to the northwest, below average heights over the UK and much of Western Europe. Jet stream is pushed southwards as well. That's a very unsettled summer in 1966. Of course, it does contain the World Cup, where England won the World Cup at Wembley at home. And actually, that was a very nice day, warm, dry and sunny, but that wasn't typical of the summer of 1966. It was actually a very poor summer with a lot of rain, and temperatures were pretty cool as well. Then we have the summer of 1972, which we've already spoken about, of course. 1977 shows up next. This one with below average heights to our south and above average heights out to the northwest. Wind is in from more of an easterly direction with this one. So, of course, we have the two hot summers of 75 and 76. Any thoughts about a third hot summer in 1977 were well and truly dashed, because this one is actually quite a cool and unsettled summer, bringing to an end that 2-year run of the very hot summers in 75 and 76. Gets even worse of the summer of 1978. Again, this is following March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. This one has high pressure further out to the north and the west, below average heights extending in across much of central western Europe. Winds are in from the northeast. It's a very cool summer in 1978 and often quite wet too. That's a very poor summer in 1978. A pretty long gap then through to 1993. So we have in the summer of 1993 above average heights out to our west and northwest, below average heights to our east and northeast. Winds are in from the north with this one. This is a strange summer because it does have a lot of warm and dry weather early on. May, June are really quite warm and dry. And then on around the 8th of July, 1993, something like that, 8th of July, a cold front plunges southwards across the country, drops the temperature by many degrees, and after that the temperature never really recovers through the rest of the summer. The rest of the summer is just cool and not particularly unsettled. It's actually reasonably dry through the rest of July and August 1993, I think. So not a particularly wet summer, it's just quite dry and cool after that cold front plunges the temperature on the 8th of July. It's one of those very, very strange situations where a cold front sort of upsets the apple cart, if you like, and this actually went on for several months, even into the autumn of 1993. We had a lot of cool weather as well. So that was a strange summer in 1993, cool and dry. Summer 2004 shows up next, following a March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. This one's quite an unsettled summer with below average heights in off the Atlantic. It does have a very warm August in 2004, but that is caused by lots of subtropical areas of low pressure moving into the North Atlantic and then bring copious amounts of rain. So it's a very wet August that we had in 2004, probably one of the wettest Augusts on record, but also very warm due to the air frequently originating from the tropical Atlantic with those areas of low pressure. Very active hurricane season in 2004 as well. And that leads to what is a very warm and humid and tropical type feeling August, but also a very wet August as well. Overall, that's a wet summer, 2004. And then we've got 2011 finally, which is our last summer following a March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. This one's just a cool and unsettled summer. Trough of low pressure parked over top of the UK and Ireland, blocking to the north. Jet streams push southwards. So pretty grim summer in 2011. Often cool, often unsettled too. Putting all of that together, and we can see that all Junes combined look like this. So for all Junes combined, we tend to get the below average heights over and to the west of the country, and blocking signal up to the north. So it does look pretty cool and pretty unsettled actually for the all Junes combined with the jet stream pushed southwards. So quite a cool and unsettled June to start us off, following a March CET range 6.5 to 6.9. Then we also have all Julys combined. This one tends to get a mid-Atlantic ridge going in the North Atlantic and has below average heights to our southeast. Winds are doing something a little bit like that. So it's a cool and unsettled signal for July. Maybe not as unsettled as June because the low pressure pushed eastwards. But certainly quite a cool signal with the above average heights out to west. We will be bringing wind from the north quite a lot of time. All August combined look very grim. Blocking sets up to the north. Trough of low pressure deepens over top of the UK and Western Europe. So obviously that's a very cool and unsettled looking signal. And then finally, all summers combined look like that. Following a March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. And again, unsettled, blocking in the north and the west of Europe, or low pressure in the northwest of Europe, blocking within the Arctic up here. Jet stream is shoved southwards as well. So a cool and unsettled summer signal overall when we have a March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9. But what about if we narrow it down to the years that are just post 1950? Does that make any difference? Do the summers get better? Well, it's how all Junes combined are looking following a March CET range of 6.5 to 6.9, looking only at 1950 onwards. If anything, it's an even worse signal for June because we really do strengthen that low pressure across the west of Europe, and very, very unsettled looking June indeed, cool and wet. July probably gets worse as well. This is all Julys combined post 1950, and again you can see we've got the deep low pressure across much of northern and western Europe. The mid-Atlantic ridge, if anything, is strengthening. So you were probably thinking intuitively, but post 1950, the summer should be better. And if we exclude all of those years before 1950 and going back into the Victorian era, that the summers would get better. But this is showing me it's not the case actually. When you just have those years from 1950, actually, the reanalysis gets even worse. That's how all Julys combined look. Makes very little difference, really. All August, I should say, looks post-1950. Again, the above average heights to the north, below average heights over and to the south of the country. And winds are in from the east and from the northeast as well. And then finally, all summers combined are looking like this. So again, I'm saying all August in the browser, but it is actually, you can see from there that this is all summers combined just here. You can see that, again, it is a very unsettled signal indeed, but all summers combined post-1950 with the below average heights across much of northern and western Europe, above average heights in the middle of the Atlantic. Jet stream is doing something a bit like that. And just a very cool and unsettled looking signal when we have a March CET range of 6.5, 6.9. Whether that's the whole Analogues package altogether, all years from like the Victorian era to 2011, or whether we exclude those years going further back and just look at the years post 1950, it doesn't seem to make much difference. It's just a very unsettled and cool signal overall. Bear in mind there's one or two exceptions. One of those, of course, is the hot summer of 1868. Now, I just wanted to talk about something else before we go. Just a little bit of an addition. So our good friend Richard Trott has been going through the CET, and Richard discovered that there's only 1 year where all 3 months, January, February, March, all 3 of the first 3 months of the year, January, February, March, have CETs of 6.0, or in the sixes, if you like. So January this year has came out at 6.4. February this year came out at 6.3. March this year came out at 6.7. And Richard went through the CET and discovered for us that there's only 1 year that has done this. Had all 3 months of January, February, March in the sixes. We are at the CET page at Gav's Weathervids. So I'm just going to scroll down through the years and through the decades. I'm going to come to the year that is the only year that has had the CET in the sixes for all 3 of the first 3 months, January, February, March. And it's this year just here, 1846. January 1846 had a CET of 6.3. February 1846 had a CET of 6.4. And March 1846 had a CET, slightly cooler actually than the January, February before it, of 6.1. That's the only time, other than 2020, it's the only time, can you believe, that all 3 of the first 3 months of the year has the CETs in the sixes. So what's the summer of 1846 like? It was actually a very interesting summer indeed, because it has the hottest June on record with a CET of 18.2. Exceptionally hot June in 1846, remarkably hot. And then July and August actually cooler than the June before it, which is quite unusual. And both of those come in with CETs sort of in the mid sixes. So, really quite interesting, actually, how the summer of 1846 has that exceptionally hot June. The rest of summer is quite warmish, really, especially for that era, but it's really the June that is most fascinating. And this is a reanalysis of the summer of 1846. This is how June 1846 looks, with the below average heights pushed away towards Greenland and Iceland, and a strong ridge of above average height centred over and to the east of the country. Clearly with this, we will be drawing up hot southerly or southeasterly winds. So that's why it's such an exceptionally hot month in June 1846 with that CET in the 18s. Remember, you don't get all that many July and August. Even in the modern era, you don't get all that many July and August with CETs in the 18s. So to do it in June is really quite remarkable. And as I say, the reason that happens is we have the above average height centred just to our east. We're pulling in these hot winds from the south and from the southeast. So that's the reason June 1846 was so remarkably hot. July 1846 reverts to much more of a typical type pattern, with high pressure sort of to the south and low pressure to the north. So July looks like it's more unsettled, but probably not that cool. Again, we see from the CET, it's in the 16s, so it's not a cold month at all. It is actually quite a warmish July, but nowhere near as hot or as settled as the June that preceded it. It is actually rather a changeable month, particularly for northern and western parts of the country. The high pressure then sort of re-intensifies as we go through to August 1846, with the above average heights then building over the country and to the northeast as well. That brings in the wind from an easterly direction. That probably came very close to being a hot month again, I would have thought, in August. So after cooler and more unsettled interlude in July, it looks like the high pressure comes back as we go through to August. But August 1846 doesn't have a CET that's very different from July. They are both in the 16s, which is warm, but nothing particularly outstanding. And the overall reanalysis for the summer of 1846 looks like this, with above average heights again for much of northern and western Europe. Below average heights are out to the northwest. Jet streams doing something a little bit like that. And so the summer of 1846 overall is quite an anticyclonic summer, but of course the main focus of the summer is that tremendously extraordinarily hot June with that remarkable CET in the 18 Celsius bracket. So that's it. Big thank you to Richard. Big thank you to our good friend Richard Trott for pointing out that only one time before 2020 has January, February, March, all 3 months produced CETs in the sixes, and that was 1846. So big thank you to Richard for that. I've got to correct myself on something earlier on in the video. We was discussing the summer of 1952 as one of our analogues, and I said it contained the Lossiemouth disaster. Of course, that's wrong. It was the Lynmouth disaster. And we have done a historic video about that. So there were several disasters that occurred through 1952 and into early 1953. And it's pretty decent historic video, actually, even if I do say so myself. So do check that out within the historic section at Gasworthy. But of course, it was the Lynmouth disaster, not the Lossiemouth disaster. Right, I think that wraps it up then for the fall summer 2020 analogues update. I hope you found it interesting and informative. Next week, I think we'll be looking at March precipitation. We're looking at March rainfall to follow on from the March CET data this week. Still struggling really to get a feel for this summer. It's relatively early days still. We're only on the 4th of April when I'm recording the video, so it is early days for this summer, but I'm still struggling to get a feel for it. I think overall, probably most of these updates have been quite unsettled. Of course, perhaps the most important one was the QBO data, and that wasn't particularly inspiring either. But as I say, we're early days, and we shall see where things go over the next few weeks. Right, of course, the forecast is going to be released on the 31st of May. So the 2020 forecast will be released on Sunday, the 31st of May. Right, that's it. So this video will be placed on the summer updates and forecast page. There's going to be a written summary that goes with it as well. I'm going to get that up for you sometime this evening, certainly around 7 o'clock, something like that. I've got the live stream between 5 and 6, so I suppose it'll be pushed back after that. But I'll get it up for you this evening. And I've got Gasworthy's Sunny Roundup, of course, coming up between now and then. And then, of course, we've got the live stream on Gasworthy's YouTube channel between 5 and 6 o'clock. We're going to check in and make sure everybody's doing okay during the coronavirus crisis. We'll have a look at some charts as well. I'm not quite sure, and have a little bit of a chat about the weather too. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to enter competition, and we're going to see you later for Gasworthy's Sunny Roundup. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.